Okay, so we're gonna look at mastering radar, top tier radar, but it works for everything. But we're gonna look at the F-14 here. Look at this beautiful skin. So the first thing you gotta do to master your top tier radar is obviously set up your radar controls. So we'll go here and we'll search radar, and we've got a bunch of options. Now I use Stream Deck here, so you see my controls will be different than yours unless you're using the Stream Deck and you want to copy, but they're all kind of intuitively laid out anyways. Like, you could manage these controls yourself if you remembered them. So let's go through them. So we've got your switch radar IRST, which is infrared search and track, on and off. You've got switch between radar and IRST. So if you want to switch to IRST mode, which it scans the sky for heat signatures and it doesn't give RWR pings or radar locks, but you can lock on to the heat signatures. It's super powerful. Not so much in top tier, but in the 9.7, 10.7 sort of range, it's really powerful, like on something like the MiG-23. Change radar IRST mode. This is super important, obviously. So there's a bunch of different radar modes, depends on which plane you're using, but everyone has like a search pulse mode, which is just like a dumb sort of scan anything mode. It doesn't matter which direction they're flying in. The downside of it is ground clutter. So if you're pointing at the ground, you're not going to see anything. Then we've got radar IRST beyond / visual range combat, which is like a really weird name for ACM mode. And ACM mode, or ACM, stands for acquire combat maneuvering, and it's something you'll use a ton in close range. So something like the Tomcat, its ACM mode has a range of 9 kilometers. So inside of 9 kilometers, like, you're using ACM. It doesn't have IFF on it, which is identify friend or foe. So it's going to lock your teammates. So you got to be careful with that. But super powerful mode. Then you have change radar IRST search mode. So this is like the width and the height of your radar beam. So maybe it's 90 degrees wide and 12 degrees tall. You press this and it goes to 130 by 15 or something. Or if you want to narrow it down, say where the person is, but you want your antenna sweep to be really fast, then you would narrow it down to, like, say 15 by 8, right? And then it's going to constantly update their location on the radar for you, which is super powerful. Then you've got change radar IRST scope scale, and this is the range of your radar on the scale. So in the top right corner of your radar screen, it'll give you a value in kilometers or miles if you use miles, but the American military hasn't used miles for like 60 years. So yeah, I don't know, if you're an American, that's not a great excuse to not use kilometers. But so, maybe it starts at 19 kilometers, you press that button, and it goes to 37. This is on the Tomcat. And you press it again, it goes to 93. Press again, it goes to 145. So that's just giving you a wider view, or a higher up view of what your radar can see. Your radar can see everything, like, regardless. It's just what, like, the scope is displaying, which is what this does. And then you've got your lock on target. So say you're in TWS head-on mode in the F-14 and you're tracking someone, which is like the dotted border around them, and you've got a sparrow and you want to lock them with the sparrow, then you press, or no. No, sorry, this is not this is actually a mode I don't use. I'm going to actually remove this. So this is when you have cyclic targeting of radar enabled, which I'll show you in a minute. This allows you to cycle through them, basically. It's inconsistent and you don't have a lot of control with it. That's why I don't like it, because if someone, when you're playing around with your radar, generally they're far away and you have time to move your cursor around the radar scale. So this, to me, I don't know, it's just less control. And if you want to be a master, you gotta take complete control of everything here. So that's what we do. So anyways, now lock radar IRST on target. So like I was saying, if you're in TWS mode, you're watching a guy and he's got like the dotted border around him, then you can press this and lock him up. So you'll use that a lot. That's why I have it on R. Now we're getting into like the pro controls, the stuff that people are afraid of for some reason, but it's really quite simple. So you have your horizontal radar target Q control axis and your vertical radar target Q control axis. So this is the horizontal and vertical sort of cursor, basically. So you need to move your cursor around the scope. And so what I do is I bind it to my right mouse button and then my WASD keys, right? So it's the same as like your pitch and yaw and stuff, or pitch and roll. And so you don't have to take your hands off the controls. You just hold your right mouse button down and then use your WASD keys to move the cursor around. So it's super intuitive. Then you've got your radar IRST tilt control axis, and this is something I don't see many people using at all. The only person I can think of on YouTube that I see using it is Matt Ogg. I don't know how to say his name, but Matt Ogg. And this is the tilt of your radar. So say you're flying around and your radar only has a vertical scan range of 6 degrees, and someone's above that scan range. Well, if you don't have this enabled, you have to actually pitch up and aim your nose at that area. But with this, you just press home and end and move it up and down manually. Another thing here that's super important is do not have relative control enabled. If you have this enabled, it just slides all over the place. It's very annoying. Same with this cursor. If you have this on, the cursor you can't control it. I don't know why that's even an option there, but don't enable it. Okay, so that's everything for radar. And then there's some options we need to look at, which is SIC, or maybe radar. Yeah, okay. So I don't know why anyone uses the cone radar. Like, it's just small, you can't see anything. It's not how it's displayed in the real plane. So if you want that nice big rectangular radar, turn this on. This is target cyclic switching of aircraft radar. So if you have this on, that's where that like Alt R or whatever I had found but deleted was, where you can cycle through them, and it's kind of random. But if you turn this off, then you get complete control of the cursor, which is what you want. And this is the constant elevation of radar antenna. So that's that tilt I was talking about. If you have this on, You can't control it. If you have it off, you can. Okay, so that's it for that. And let's jump in a game and play around with it a little bit when I take off. I also raise my flaps. I switch into TWS head-on mode, 93 kilometers. There you see the elevator's nice and flat. I'm going to try and get as much speed as I can and then start gaining altitude and point towards their base as well, just so I can lock them on easier. So just gaining speed. I sweep my wings back also, just to get more speed. Start climbing. I'm going to start picking some guys up here on the TWS. There's one there. This map's pretty small, so 93 is actually a bit much, but 37 is not enough. I think that's a bot. So I'm going to switch over to my Phoenixes here eventually and get someone locked up. There we go. Drop a Phoenix, grab another guy, drop another Phoenix, start cranking, which is bringing them to my gimbal limit there and dropping down in altitude. Once this missile, the Phoenix has onboard radar, but it doesn't turn on until it's within 16 kilometers. So I'm just getting down and then I can turn. So now I think they're about 16 kilometers, so they're total fire and forget now. I'm going to go behind the mountain here and see if any dummies go over the water, which is not a good idea to do on this map.
We're being locked now.
And sure enough, we got an F-16 there, and I got a kill. Yeah, kill with the Phoenix. Lock him up. Sparrow, he's at high altitude, which is just you do not do this. Like my mantra in Air RV is fly high, you die, because there's just nothing you can do. If someone shoots a Sparrow at you from 6 kilometers and you're up in the middle of the sky, there's not a single thing you can do to evade it or countermeasure it. I'm close enough. I kind of know everyone's in the middle of the map here, so I'm switching to ACM mode. I'm gonna pull up a A9L here and drop my throttle to like 50% because this thing's so freaking hot, and start periodically dropping flares. So yeah, he's dead. That's 3 in like 30 seconds. I'm heading towards the middle of the map here, which it's not a good idea to do in the Tomcat. It's better to stay on the outskirts. But I didn't think anyone else was to my left there. So I try to get this guy with an AIM-9L, and I would have got it, but I just clipped the top of the mountain there. And then I see this F-4J going, and I think that F-4S is chasing the other F-4S, so I kind of tunnel vision on him. And look, he's turning in. So I lock this guy up, and he drops chaff, but the missile is already looking at him, so he's dead. And that fucking Sparrow came in and got me with the AIM-9. But yeah, that was, 30 seconds or 45 seconds and 4 kills and some ACM modes, some TWS, and yeah, so all the stuff, all the good stuff. But yeah, if you found this video informative, then please like and subscribe, and I'm going to try and make 2 or 3 videos a week, and better quality, of course. This one was my first video, so not the best, so I apologize for that, but the next one's hopefully a little better. Yeah, thanks again, and see you next time.